thanks Tony. Obviously we met some of the very best in the world of our solar competitors, the world of Speedway, the world of Grasstrack, the world of Long Track. They've all come together this afternoon. We now go to something that is particularly special to the UK, of course the 1000cc sidecars. Nowhere else in the world do they race 1000cc sidecars, and Michelle, you are now in for a treat because you're going to meet some real men. Now as you go down through the sidecar class, I've got to make no more comments than that. Michelle, you will enjoy this because you are of course meeting, first of all, last year's winners, Russell and Paul Urich. Moving along a little bit further, you're going to enjoy this journey down through these sidecar competitors. This is of course last year's second place runners-up, John Halsey and Tony Miles. Third place, our only father and son crew that we've got in the sidecar world, is Alan and John Lewis. Well, your next meeting, our top place crew at the moment, our British Masters champions, they are of course Ira Matthews and Peter Jones. And the next man you'll meet you've got to be very careful of because this is an old campaigner, I'm allowed to say that politely. It is of course Roger Meeser and Shane Lapham. Well, I don't think the next one's going to be quite as adventurous as that, but I'm not going to guess at what's going to happen a bit further down the line. I said you were going to enjoy this. It's Jerry Adams and Alan Calversmith. Riding number 7, and this man you've got to give a special treat to because he's actually going to retire at the end of this year. It is number 7 this afternoon, Ken Lane and Mark Edwards. Great to see this crew in the 8 of 80s. This year it's number 8, Pete Dyer and Tony Bannister. Now the next crew we move on to you've got to be very careful of. Very distinctive leathers, of course. We don't see him too often on the grass track, but we're pleased to see him here at the 8 of 80s. It's Richard Biggett and Steve Smith. Well, the photographs get taken, they'll welcome this as we move to the number 10. It is, of course, the very, very quick Gary Jackson and Kevin Williams. Now this one has got to be one for the album, the very colourful leathers of number 11, Neville Penfold and Paul Randall. You can smile, Paul, we don't mind. Number 12, and you can't beat this for colour, can you? Number 12 is of course the very experienced Steve Smith and Keith Wall. They get less colourful as you move on because we now move to that quietly confident Rob Wilson and Vince Jones. Plenty of support for Rob Wilson. I don't know what they're expecting to do there, Rob. But as we move to Mick Cave and Mick Stace, very distinctive that we've got the two Micks standing together. Number 15 they ride, Mick Cave and Mick Stace. Well, we now move to those crews that thought maybe they wouldn't have made it to the HCAC this year, but they have indeed. Riding number 16, Terry Phillips and Chris Byers. Next to them, the youngsters from Cornwall, Phil Pittman and Justin Westaway. We move through to number 18, and we should be seeing the crew of Dave Steer and Andy Orchard. Crew number 19 is Roy Fredbury and Steve Kensington. And I've got just two more crews to introduce to you. They are, of course, our reserves this afternoon. Riding number 20, Adrian, or as he prefers, say Davis, and Vince Davis. And I've got to say, of course, by no means last but not least, it is number 21, the man that certainly impressed me. Yes, I've got to find out what he's doing here. This is unbelievable. Is that a phone number you're putting on there? Didn't think you were allowed to have 0800 numbers. Number 21, it is of course the man that impressed me yesterday with a brilliant first ride, Tim Bennett and Colin Backford. That does indeed conclude the lineup of riders. You've now been introduced to all the riders from all over Europe in the solo competition. Our very, very special 1000cc sidecar riders. I've got to ask you, Michelle, what do you think of this lineup of men?
Lovely.
Lovely. I've never heard any of these sidecar drivers described as lovely. Absolutely unreal. Michelle, it's been a joy to meet you. I do hope you enjoy our form of sport because the racing is going to be sensational. You've seen some of the very best riders in the world.
Thank you.
These are the guys who've, by winning many events in many countries, been invited to compete here this afternoon. Some of them had to qualify yesterday. Really a world-class field. A once-a-year gathering of the top track racing men of the world here in Britain. And we hope you will welcome them in the usual fashion.
Well, thanks Tony, and a very interesting start to the solo competition there. Of course, I'm sure there's a lot of people wondering whether Simon Wigg will be able to do it this afternoon. He started with a win. Gert Rees, the defending champion, of course, has started with a win, so a tremendous way to start the afternoon. We now question what will happen in the sidecar competition. Looking at the lineup for race 5, sponsored by Cliffs Communications, we've got Richard Piggott and Steve Smith, an interesting partnership, a very experienced passenger, Steve, and indeed he's now turned his hand to driving a 500cc sidecar outfit. That, I will say, if you haven't seen him in action, is very, very competitive. He's a very strong competitor himself, and teaming up with Richard Piggott, Gary Jackson, of course, who we've seen have some very quick rides this season. Alan and John Blewett go to the start line. They are renowned for some brilliant starts, and of course our British Masters champion, Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones. And look what I was saying, as Alan and John Blewett break from that start gate, we know that they can make some very quick starts. Indeed, their biggest competition they've won this year was possibly the Marksman Answer at the beginning of the year. But look at Gary Jackson going for that very, very wide line as they come round past us. You can see Gary Jackson closing right up on Alan and John Blewett. That's where Gary Jackson looks fast, going down that back straight. Will he be able to do enough to get past Alan and John Blewett? Alan holding that timeline, forcing Gary Jackson to go wide. Tremendous start to the sidecar competition as Ivor Matthews has got to be content with third place at the moment. He can see the action going on ahead of him as Gary Jackson has gone all the way around the outside. He gets himself in front and tucks it in tight on that top bend. So the early leaders, Alan and John Blewett, losing out to what looks to be the very, very quick Gary Jackson and Kevin Williams. As they go into that top bend, they've already opened up a gap on Alan and John Blewett, and Ivor Matthews still has to be content with third place. They go into their last lap from the first of the sidecars this afternoon. It looks as if there's problems for Richard Piggott as he slows coming past us. Well, as you can see, a little bit further in front of them, Ivor Matthews now making a bid for that second spot. Alan and John Blewett determined not to give it up though, as they come back in front of Ivor Matthews going in that top bit. They're forced to go wide. Ivor Matthews will try and get them on the inside. Gary Jackson wins. It's close to the line, but it looks to me as if Alan and John Blewett have just hung on to it. Ivor Matthews, a third first time out. Terry Phillips finishing in fourth there. Phil Pittman has made up to fifth place, and problems for Richard Piggott. Gary Jackson and Kevin Williams, they take the first win in race 5, the first of the sidecar competition. In second place, outfit number 3, Alan and John Blewett. Third place, outfit number 4, Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones. Fourth place, number 16, that's Terry Phillips and Chris Spires. And fifth place, number 17, Phil Pittman and Justin Westerway. Sixth place finisher there, outfit number 9, Richard Piggott and Steve Smith. The winning time, 1:26.04. 1:26.04 then, the time that all the other competitors will be looking at. A win for outfit number 10, Gary Jackson. As we turn our attention to race 6, what a tremendous lineup we've got in this one. Number 7, Ken Lane and Mark Edwards, who looked so impressive in practice yesterday and again this morning. Mick Cave and Mick Stace, Royce Bradbury and Steve Kensington, Rob Wilson and Vince Jones, and of course Roger Misa and Shane Lappel. Pete Dyer and Tony Bamister are the riders that joined them on that 6th grid. As we look back through the history books, you've got to look right back to well, indeed, Roger was second in 1988. He was second in 1989. He hasn't indeed lifted this title. Well, no, indeed, he has, of course, back in 1987. He won it. And of course, he will be anxious to do the same again. It looks as if Ken Lane has made a good start on the far side. We're looking to see who it is that's going to come through going to that first bend. 3 outfits together as they go into that first bend. It's very, very tight. But obviously the track showing that 3 outfits can go around that first bend together. It's Roger Meeson that's made the best of it though as they come past us. Ken Lane follows him into that bend in second spot. Rob Wilson is the rider that was amongst those two as they went into that first bend. He's now back in third spot. But it's Roger Meester and Shane Lapham that have got away at the moment. Rob Wilson tries to go through on the inside of Ken Lane as they go into that top corner. Ken, of course, so anxious to start this running way on the end of his final season on a high note. But Roger Meester, as I say, we look back to 1987 to see the last time that Roger Meester, and indeed the only time that Roger Meester has won this title. It's one that he's always considered to be the top honour in Grasstrack, and he would love to win it this year. We watch them come around that top bend. Ken Lane fighting every inch of the way with his outfit in third spot, and he's not able to close up on those front two. It's Roger Meester that goes into the last lap leading from Rob Wilson in second place. Mick Cave has forced his way through into fourth spot. Watch him go down that back straight. Rob Wilson looks very, very quick indeed as he's closed right up on Roger Meester going into this last bend. Don't think he's got the time to be able to do that. He's taking back that lead as we see the checkered flag go. It's Roger Meester and Shane Lapham that take a win. Rob Wilson and Vince Jones in second, Ken Lane and Mark Edwards in third, Mick Cave and Mick State in fourth. As indeed we see Pete Dyer and Roy Spreadbury finishing 5th and 6th respectively. A win for outfit number 5, Roger Meester and Shane Lapham. In second place, number 14, Rob Wilson and Vince Jones. Third place, number 7, Ken Lane and Mark Edwards. Fourth place, number 15, Mick Cave and Mick Stace. Fifth place, outfit number 8, Pete Dyer and Tony Bemister, and 6th place, number 19, Roy Spreadbury and Steve Kensington. The winning time, 127.40, 127.40 the time, was a win for outfit number 5. The missing name, of course, in race 7, outfit number 18, is Dave Steer and Andy Orchard. They joined the lineup of last year's runners-up, John Halsey and Tony Miles. Jerry Adams and Adam Cowper-Smith go to grid 3. Rustling and Paul Urich, last year's winners, of course, the very distinctive colourings of Rustling and Paul Urich, not very difficult to spot at all. They ride outfit number 1 and they go to grid 4 for their first outing. Neville Penfold and Paul Randall. I'm sure they are a young crew that would love to win this title this year. And number 12, of course, the old campaigner, Steve Smith and Keith Wall. As we watch them get away, it is Neville Penfold has made a brilliant start. As Rustling looks to have missed the gate completely, he's back in what was 5th place, but going into the bend in 3rd place. He starts to sort things out going into that first bend. Steve Smith is up there in 2nd place, holding a very, very tight line indeed. It is Steve Smith that goes through on the inside of Neville Penfold. So a great start to the afternoon for Steve Smith and Keith Wall as they turn the power on going down that back straight, and Rustling moves through on the inside of Neville Penfold. The problem for Neville Penfold, he started so well, he's going back through the field as the race develops. As Steve Smith and Keith Wall look to have got away from what is now a 2nd place Rustling and Paul Urich. John Halsey has moved up into 3rd place, Dave Steer has moved into 4th, and Neville Penfold disappointingly back in 5th place after that brilliant start. But as we watch to see that top corner once again, Steve Smith looks to be in very, very determined form this afternoon as he comes down off that top end into his last lap. He's looking to see whether it is the Godden that he's riding. It is indeed the Godden V-twin that Steve Smith is riding. He's got 2 outfits, of course, and we have to check every week to see which one it is that he's riding. But he's V-twin powered this afternoon, and it looks to be doing him some good as he comes around off that top end. He's going to pick up a checkered flag as a win for his first ride this afternoon. Rustling and Paul Urich, last year's winners, have to be content with a 2nd place, as indeed John Halsey and Tony Miles finish in 3rd spot. A win for outfit number 12, Steve Smith and Keith Wall. In 2nd place, outfit number 1, Rustling and Paul Urich. 3rd place goes to outfit number 2, John Halsey and Tony Miles. 4th place, number 18, Dave Steer and Andy Orchard. 5th place, number 11, Neville Penfold and Paul Randall. And 6th place finisher there, Jerry Adams and Adam Cowper-Smith. The winning time, 127.80, so not quite as quick as that early time from outfit number 10, Gary Jackson. But we've got wins and maximum points for Gary Jackson, Roger Meester and Steve Smith. And with that, we turn over the page and go over to race 8. Tony, we're back with the 2nd legs. And if we look down that first race, race 12 in the 2nd leg, sponsored of course by Tony Johnson Motor Vehicle Engineers, And we obviously thank them, but as we look to that lineup for race 12, quickly to realise that there are no heat winners from the first leg, so we're going to get another winner from this particular race. Rob Wilson had a second place first time out. Terry Phillips and Dave Steer both had fourth places. John Halsey with a third, Ivor Matthews with a third, and Jerry Adams with a sixth place. News from the paddock that Gert Rees, who pulled out of his second ride, is in fact changing an engine at the moment, so he's loading his first engine, another one in. We'll wait to see how that develops as we get underway with race 12. As we go into that first bend, John Halsey has made a very good start. He wants to come round off that top bend for the first time. It is John Halsey that's got to the front. Dave Steer is up there in second place. Ivor Matthews trying to work his way through, holding third at the moment, looking to find a gap to get through in the second. Working his way through as well. He's in fourth place at the moment. John Halsey, a tremendous start for him, as I mentioned earlier on this morning, that he was putting a new engine in during the week. He was running it in very sensibly yesterday at the qualifying, and indeed looks to have things absolutely on stock now for the main meeting today. And as we watch the steam go round that top bend, it is John Halsey and Tony Miles that have got the race under control. Dave Steer still there in second place, being pursued by both Ivor Matthews and Rob Wilson. They both close on him coming off that top bend. One more lap to go in race 12 as John Halsey is fighting to hang on to it. Well, he must be wondering where the challenge is going to come from, because Dave Steer has closed right up on him as he looks to go round him down the back straight, but John Halsey holds him off. Well, Dave Steer forced to go wide as he goes round that top bend, and John Halsey has got a good line, and indeed that looks a winning line to me as he comes to the line. Dave Steer gets second, Ivor Matthews gets third, and Rob Wilson back in fourth spot. Oh, a tremendous ride for John Halsey and Tony Miles. Of course, pleased that they had second place last year and hoping to improve on that. The win for outfit number 2, John Halsey and Tony Miles. In second place, number 18, Dave Steer and Danny Orchard. Third place, outfit number 4, Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones. Fourth place, number 14, Rob Wilson and Vince Jones. Fifth place, outfit number 6, Jerry Adams and Adam Cowper-Smith. And sixth place, number 16, which is Terry Phillips and Chris Spires. The winning time, 125.92, 125.92. The first win of the afternoon for outfit number 2, John Halsey and Tony Miles. Well, we saw no leg 1 winners in race 12, but as we look to race 13, again sponsored by Square Deal Caravans, our thanks to them. They put so much into Grasstrack and Speedway, of course, and I hope, as Tony's mentioned earlier on, that a lot of you will be travelling up to Swindon tonight to see that Division 1 League Riders Championship. That, of course, not too far away from us, very easy to get to from here. But as we look to race 13, we do see that we've got one of our leg 1 winners. That, of course, is Roger Misa and Shane Lapham. They've got no other leg winners with them, but what they have got is Alan and John Blewett and Russelling and Paul Urich, who have both had second places. And indeed Ken Lane and Mark Edwards, who had a third. Richard Piggott, we know, had problems first time out. Picked up, unfortunately, only a 6th place. And Neville Penfold and Paul Randall with that 5th spot that they'll be hoping to improve on. So an interesting racing prospect as we watch anxiously across to that far side. The teams go up. Alan and John Blewett have made another brilliant start. You see Neville Penfold again has come from that inside gate. It's those two that go into that first bend. We're anxiously looking for Roger Misa, who's back in 5th place now. It's Ken Lane that tries to come through on the inside of Neville Penfold. But Neville Penfold still holding the lead. Russelling is right up there as well. Oh, it's Russelling that's in 3rd spot, Ken Lane who's in 2nd, but Neville Penfold still holds the lead as we watch to see them go down that back straight. Ken Lane was trying to come through and he left the gap for Russelling to come right through on the inside of him. So Neville Penfold forced to go wide as he went quickly into that top bend. Russelling comes off that top bend leading just from Ken Lane. And Neville Penfold still not out of contention. Roger Misa watching what's going on in front of him as he now tries to get through in that 3rd place. As you can see, Ken Lane has gone through in front of Russelling. Roger Misa looks to follow him as they go into that top bend. Tremendous sidecar racing, this one, as we watch them come off that top bend again. Roger Mason looking for the tight line, looking to drive underneath Rustling. He gets the line inside Rustling. He now goes after Ken Lane, and he looks to be much tighter on that pit bend. Ken Lane has gone a little bit wide, but he closes the door again and powers down that back straight. Oh, we want to see him go into that last bend. Ken Lane looking for his first win as he comes off that top bend. He of course had a third first time out. As he comes to the line, he's going to take that checker bag. It's a win for Ken Lane. Second to Roger Misa and Shane Lapham, and a third spot for Rustling and Paul Urich. Eventually a win for outfit number 7, Ken Lane and Mark Edwards. In second place, number 5, Roger Misa and Shane Lapham. Third spot, outfit number 1, Rustling and Paul Urich. Fourth place, number 11, Neville Penfold and Paul Randall. Fifth spot going to outfit number 3, Alan and John Blewett, and sixth place, number 9, Richard Piggott and Steve Smith. The winning time, 126.92. 126.92 with 7, 5, 1, 11, 3 and 9. Race 14, which when I was transferring the results through the programme, I noticed that this one has got to be a very interesting one. It's sponsored by Penton Cars from Penton Corner in Weyhill, and if you look, you can see we've got 2 of our first leg winners, Gary Jackson and passenger Kevin Williams, up against Steve Smith and Keith Wall. All the other competitors finished in 4th, 5th and 6th places, so they'll be anxious to improve on that. But will it be a straight head-to-head between Gary Jackson and Steve Smith? Oh, we watch to see them on the far side. It is Steve Smith who's made the best of the start. Gary Jackson is right there with him, so it is those 2 that have got away from the rest of the field. Together they come down that first bend. Steve Smith holding it tight. Gary Jackson going the long way round. It's Mick Cave that's got up into 3rd spot, but it is those 2 that have got away. Both of them having a win first time out. Steve Smith, you'll watch, will try and hold those close, tight lines around every bend. Having 4 bends, and it goes in tight into what I consider to be the first bend of the Sidecar. He then tight again on what I consider to be the second bend. Gary Jackson knows that he's got to go a little bit quicker to try and close on Steve Smith as he goes into bend 3 and then into bend 4. He's holding a brilliant tight line. This is great sidecar racing from Steve Smith and Keith Ward. Totally in control as they go into that top bend once again. They're allowing the back wheel to drift just a little bit. Importantly, they're keeping maximum drive to the floor. Oh, Gary Jackson and Kevin Williams have got no answer to them at the moment. Mick Cave and Mick Stace still there in 3rd. Phil Pittman is holding 4th place at the moment in front of Roy Spreadbury. But as we look to that far side, we can only wonder if this is going to be another ace of racing victory for Steve Smith. Of course, he won it back in 1989. He won it also in 1984 and 1982. And he picks up a win in race 14. A win, and the only man to have 2 wins so far, number 12, Steve Smith and Keith Wall. In second place, number 10, Gary Jackson and Kevin Williams. Third place, number 15, that of course is Mick Cave and Mick Stace. And fourth place, number 17, Phil Pittman and Justin Westaway. Fifth place, number 19, Roy Spreadbury and Steve Kensington. And sixth place, number 8, Pete Dyer and Tony Bemister. The winning time, 125.28. 125.28 the time. Second win for outfit number 12, Steve Smith and Keith Wall. Well, thanks Tony, we really are getting through the races quickly this afternoon as we move into that third leg for the sidecars. I'm sure a lot of pit crews already telling their drivers that they've got to do something in this third leg if they haven't had good results in those first 2. A lot of sorting out to be done as we look to this race 19. John, of course, having a third place first time out, then a win in his second ride. He sits there in third place at the moment because the early lead is with Dave Steer. Well, Dave Steer, of course, has had a third place and then a second place, so he's been getting faster as the afternoon's gone on. Alan and John Blewett have been making such good starts and losing out as the races progress. They're back in what was third place, but now Rustling takes them through to fourth place and they move up into third. And it's still Dave Steer and Andy Ortiz that have got away from this very, very strong field in race 19. And Rustling looking to close up on John Halsey. He's got right on his back wheel as they go into that top corner. Will Rustling move through this time going down the back straight? He's looking for the outside outside line. That's a very quick line to take, and he drives hard into that top bend. He gets him, in fact, closer to Dave Steer as he goes round the outside of John Halsey. Well, I say he's gone round the outside. He still hasn't made it 100% yet as he just creeps in front going into that pit bend. This is where he'll try and pull it tight coming out of that pit bend. As he goes down the back straight, it's asking a lot for him to close up on Dave Steer. There's still some 3 or 4 bike lengths between those two as he closes up into the last bend, but Dave Steer comes towards the checkered flag. It's a good win for Dave Steer and Andy Orchard. Rustling and Paul Urich take a second place. John Halsey takes third, and Alan Blewett looks to have just hung on to that 4th place. And a win for number 18, Dave Steer and Andy Orchard. In second place, outfit number 1, Rustling and Paul Urich. In third place, outfit number 2, John Halsey and Tony Miles. Fourth place, outfit number 3, Alan and John Blewett. And fifth place, number 17, Phil Pittman and Justin Westerway. Sixth place, number 19, Royce Bradbury and Steve Kensington. The winning time, 1:25 exactly, 1:25.00, 18, 1, 2, 3, 17 and 19. Certainly as I look to be adding up the points as we go through the sidecars, very interesting comment from Tony a little while ago. I was interested to hear that one. I certainly came to the same conclusion when I was looking at the entry of the sidecar competition. I don't think anybody could have accurately tipped who was going to win it this year, because it really is a very, very strong lineup. So many of these crews would dearly love to win the 1993 Ace of Aces. And as we look to race 20, this one sponsored again by Penton Cars of Penton Corner Wayhill. And we look to see whether Ivor Matthews can start putting in some good results. Roger Meese, of course, has had a win and a second place. So he'll be looking to pile the pressure on the rest of the competitors. They're joined by Mick Cave, Rob Wilson, Jerry Adams and Terry Phillips. See that helicopter going across again. Quick to remind you that the helicopter rides are taking place over the far side of the fence. If you fancy an aerial view of the racing circuit, please wander over there. But a great scrap as we come round off that first bend in a race 20. Ivor Matthews looks to have got the bit between his teeth this time. He's got Roger Meese just in front of him though as he tucks into that top bend, and Roger slowed in the middle of the bend. Ivor Matthews seized on the opportunity, got right up close behind him, and then Roger pulled away again as he went out of that pit bend. It's Mick Cave and Mick Stace in third place, and Rob Wilson in fourth at the moment, just to come off that top bend. Really stamping his authority on this race is Roger Meese and Shane Lapham. Ivor Matthews desperately trying to score some better points this time. He's got second place. Just wondering whether a lot of these drivers have actually been experimenting with tyres in their first couple of rides. They're starting to get things absolutely right. They're not losing grip anywhere at the moment. If you watch the back wheel of Roger Meese, he's got total drive all the way around. It's just that pit corner he tends to slow in the middle. I don't know whether that's to get him a much better line going down that back straight. But Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones not able to close up on them at the moment. They're still there in second place. Rob Wilson making a good move to come through the third place. But as we see the checker flag, it's another win for Roger Meese. Indeed, Rob Wilson has got through for that third spot. Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones finishing in second. It's a win for outfit number 5, his second win of the afternoon, Roger Meese and Shane Lapham. In second place, number 4, Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones. Third place, outfit number 14, Rob Wilson and Vince Jones. Fourth place, number 15, Mick Cave and Mick Stace. And fifth place, outfit number 6, Jerry Adams and Adam Cowper-Smith. Sixth place finisher there, number 16, Terry Phillips and Chris Spires. The winning time, 1:26.81. 5, 4, 14, 15, 6 and 16, 1:26.81. Well, we move into what is the last of the third leg rides, and an interesting one this looks to be. Steve Smith and Keith Wall come to the line, the only ones on a maximum at the moment with 2 wins to their credit. Gary Jackson had a win first time out, he followed it with a second place behind Steve Smith, in fact, in that second one. Ken Lane has had a third place and a win. We watched the team go into that first bend, and it's Ken Lane that's made the best of the starts. Gary Jackson is right up there on his back wheel. Steve Smith is back in third place. Cuts back across Gary Jackson, tries to get through on the inside of him. Well, that's a good move from Steve Smith as he does get through on the inside of Gary Jackson, forces Jackson to go wide on that back straight, and look at Steve Smith go through the inside of Ken Lane. Oh, Ken Lane must have wondered what was coming through on the inside of him because Steve Smith seemed to find an extra ounce of power going down that back straight. He really does look to be on song at the moment, Steve Smith and Keith Wall. Gary Jackson going around the outside of Ken Lane, trying to get in on the action and get to the front. He goes down that back straight. As indeed we go into the dip, you see that's where Steve Smith has got the extra power. Gary Jackson looks quicker as well down that back straight. He goes wide again on that top corner. Into the last lap we go, and Steve Smith looks like maintaining his maximum. Keith Wall anxiously looking over his shoulder. He knows the competition is going to be close. But Gary Jackson, no answer at the moment, as indeed that gap looks to be getting bigger as they go down that back straight. Really Steve Smith on top form at the moment. He has of course won this event before. Back in 1989 he won it. And that of course was with Keith Wall in the chair. He takes another win, that's a maximum for Steve Smith. Gary Jackson gets second, Ken Lane in third. Neville Penfold back in fourth place. A win for outfit number 12, their third ride and their third win, Steve Smith and Keith Wall. In second place, number 10, Gary Jackson and Kevin Williams. Third place, outfit number 7, Ken Lane and Mark Edwards. Fourth place, number 11, Neville Penfold and Paul Randall. Fifth place, number 9, Richard Piggott and Steve Smith. And sixth place, number 8, Pete Dyer and Tony Bemister. The winning time, 1:26.23. It was race 21, it was 12, 10, 7, 11, 9 and 8. And that concludes the third round of the Sidecar competition. We move into the last qualifying rides. And then of course we'll be having that short interval while we can find out who it is that goes into the big final at the end of the day. Tony, we look forward with anticipation to the fourth rides. Well, already we've got the Sidecars coming out for the start of their fourth leg. As I look across that far side, I can see that the competitors are already coming into line. Well, an interesting time now as everybody sits and works out the points for the solo competition. And interesting to see that Simon Wigg got such a bad result in that last ride. Interesting to see whether he has got enough points to get through. We certainly hope he has. What tremendous riding from Joe Screen there in his last ride. We look to the Sidecar competition where I'm sure all the pit crews have been doing the adding up of the points. The riders know exactly what they've got to do in this last ride. Of course, top of the points at the moment is Steve Smith and Keith Wall. They're on a maximum. We don't see them until the third heat of this fourth leg. But what we do see in race 26, sponsored by Mick Potter Turf and Soil from Bromley Common in Kent, is that Russell Ing comes out. He's on 14 points at the moment. Ivan Matthews on 13 points. I will say quickly, these are unofficially added up by me. Ken Lane is on 14 as well. Gary Jackson on 16. Rob Wilson on 12. So a lot of hard competition in this one as we watch to see them go into that first bend. It's Ken Lane that's made the best of the starts. Russell Ing has gone after him and gets a very tight line on the inside of Ken Lane. Rob Wilson is up there in third place, and Gary Jackson very disappointingly right at the back of the field, anxiously looking down at his bike as Russell Ing has gone to the inside line on the pit bend. Ivan Matthews has come through as well to get up into third, but a great scrap between Ken Lane and Russell Ing right at the front of the field. As you can see, Russell Ing has got the inside line on that top bend. Ken Lane is forced to go wide. Ivan Matthews now getting closer to those two. Rob Wilson still not out of contention in fourth place. But as we look to that pit bend again, this is the one that Russell Ing looks to have got absolutely spot on. He's driving hard coming out of that pit bend, and look what's happening in second. Ivan Matthews is looking to come through on the inside of Ken Lane. Loaded up on Russell Ing, and Ken Lane having to fight every inch of the way to hang on to his places here as we go into the last lap. Russell Ing and Paul Urich still comfortably at the front, but Ivan Matthews closing all the time on them. Ivan Matthews looks good coming out of that pit bend as well. He's quick going down that back straight, but he's going to take some catching to catch up with Russell Ing. He does look very, very quick down that far side of the circuit. Comes off that top end. Russell is going to pick up another win. That I'm sure will confirm to see him in the final. Ivan Matthews, we've got to wait to do the calculations because I don't know whether that second place will in fact guarantee him a place in the final. That's going to make it interesting, isn't it? With a result in race 26 of a win for outfit number 1, Rustling and Paul Urich. In second place, outfit number 4, Ivan Matthews and Peter Jones. Third place, number 7, Ken Lane and Mark Edwards. Fourth place, number 14. That, of course, is Rob Wilson and Vince Jones. And fifth place, number 17, Phil Pittman and Justin Westaway. Sixth place, number 10, Gary Jackson and Kevin Williams. The winning time, 1:26.20. 1:26.20 the time. Another win for Rustling, taking his points tally, unofficially I would add, to 20 overall. So as we quickly look at that points chart, obviously it's going to get interesting as these last rides are carried out, and we look to race 27. Once again, our sponsors, Penton Cars, sponsor this one. And as we look at my unofficial points, we've got Roger Misa only dropping 1 point so far on 17. John Halsey goes in this one on 14, so a very good opportunity for John Halsey to make sure of a place in the final. Dave Steer also has had a good afternoon. He's on 14 points as well, and as you can quickly see, we had a lot of riders sitting on those 12, 13 and 14 points. So this last ride, very, very important indeed. There it is. Start once again. He really has got his machinery out of that start line, and Roger Misa gets very close to him as they go into that first bend. You see John Halsey has gone wide. He's missing all the problems on the inside of him, and he goes a long, long way round as three outfits together go into that pit bend. Roger Misa on the inside. Dave Steer has got the line, and John Halsey is forced to go wide once again. Up that back straight we go, and this is where Roger looks at a little bit quicker than Dave Steer, but John Halsey's got him on, and he goes wide again. Dave Steer is exceptionally good at holding a tight line. You know that from the experience of the racing we've seen from him earlier in the season. Roger, I think, has realised that, and he's now looking to go for an outside line. That in turn has forced John Halsey to go even wider than he really wanted to. And he's lost out on that pit bend by going that extra distance. As we watch them go into the top bend once more, Roger again gets close to Dave Steer. Dave Steer's doing well to hang on to this. He's under a lot of pressure from Roger Misa. He's forcing him to make the decisions. He's forcing him to go wide. Dave Steer brilliantly hanging on to that racing line. And he's driving hard coming out of the bends, making it difficult for Roger to catch him down the straights. This really is good experience riding from Dave Steer. He's forced Roger Misa again to go for that wide line. Roger will be looking to cut back in, coming off that top corner. He goes to the inside line. Is this a brilliant corner for Roger Misa? Dave Steer thinks that he's hung on to it, and the Orchard, you can see, believes he hung on to it. We'll wait to see what our lap scorers say, but what a great ride from Roger Misa. He almost done it, or did he? We'll wait to see what the lap scorers make of that one. Well, race 27, and it couldn't have been closer on the line. The eventual decision was a win for outfit number 18, Dave Steer and Andy Orchard. In second place, outfit number 5, so closely second, Roger Misa and Shane Lapham. In third place, outfit number 2, John Halsey and Tony Miles. Fourth place, number 11, Neville Penfold and Paul Randall. Fifth place, number 15, Mick Cave and Mick Stace. And sixth place, outfit number 8, Pete Dyer and Tony Bemister. The winning time, 1:28.40, as indeed we go over the page to the last of the qualifying rides. This one sponsored by AK Motor Spares at Amesbury. And as we look to that tally of points that the sidecar competitors have built up, Steve Smith, of course, the only rider on a maximum. He's on 18 points at the moment. He's joined in this one by Alan and John Blewett, the closest to him on 10 points. Jerry Adams, Richard Piggott, Terry Phillips and Roy Spreadbury all on the lower levels of points, 5s and 4s. So they'll be hoping to improve on that in this one, but I don't think that even a win in this one would actually get them through to the final. It's a question of whether Steve Smith can keep his maximum, perhaps. Well, obviously, a lot of concern there in the centre green. I can see that the St John's ambulance have been called to Dave Steer and Andy Orton. It looks as if it's Andy that's picked up an injury, and whether that was possibly a hefty stone, but Dave at the moment looking very, very disappointed. He knows that he's had some good rides this afternoon. This would be disastrous if he can't compete in the final. We look to race 28. It's sponsored by AK Motor Spares, and we wonder whether Steve Smith can indeed keep this maximum. He's had 3 rides and 3 wins. This is 4th and final ride in the qualifying. We watch to see what happens after the interval. We've got those 4 big finals to come, of course. We go then with the last of the qualifying races. Well, it's Royce Bredbury that's made the best of the start to get to that first corner. So you can see that Steve Smith comes by him as they go into that first bend. Alan and John Blewett are forced to go wide. But as they come down past us, it is Steve Smith that's got away. He really has looked to be in brilliant form this afternoon, Steve Smith. He's already getting away from the rest of the field. Royce Bredbury still doing well in that second spot. Kensington working hard on the back of Royce Bredbury, trying to get maximum drive in the back straight. Alan and John Blewett not having the best of days. They're back in 3rd place and look to be losing that one to Jerry Adams. Terry Phillips now going after Alan and John Blewett, and a disappointing day for Richard Piggott. He has not looked the old Richard Piggott that we used to see so often on the grass track. The last lap flag go for race 28. It's Steve Smith that really does look to be in very, very good form this afternoon. I wonder how many of you would have perhaps tipped Steve Smith to take this sidecar competition. He is proud to say, of course, that he has won it 3 times. He had a 3rd in 1990, right to that as well. As we see that checkered flag go, it's a brilliant ride from Steve Smith in T4. 4 rides, 4 wins. Royce Bredbury gets 2nd place. Jerry Adams gets 3rd. Terry Phillips in 4th. And indeed a very disappointing finish to the day for Alan and John Blewett, as they indeed coast past us, indeed with a back wheel puncture by the look of it. So really things going from bad to worse for Alan and John Blewett. As a result of race 28, sponsored by AK Motor Spares, a win is 4th this afternoon for Steve Smith and Keith Wall. It's outfit number 12. In 2nd place, number 19, Royce Bredbury and passenger Steve Kensington. In 3rd place, outfit number 6, Jerry Adams and Adam Calvert-Smith. In 4th place, number 16, Terry Phillips and Chris Spies, and 5th place, number 9, Richard Piggott and Steve Smith, and disappointingly their 6th place, number 3, Alan and John Blewett. The winning time was 125.49, 125.49.
For race 30 and across to Jim for the sidecar consolation final.
Well, thanks Tony, and obviously my congratulations to Kelvin Tatum. A shame that we didn't see him out in that Big A final, but just I think shows how strong the competition has been this year at this fabulous Ace of Aces. As we look to race 30, it's the Sidecar Consolation, sponsored by JT Commercials. And what a lineup this is. I mean, it really could be an A final of many other meetings. We've got number 4, our reigning British Masters champion, Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones. Number 10 is Gary Jackson and Kevin Williams. 14, Rob Wilson and Vince Jones. 15, Mick Cave and Mick Stace. 3 is Alan and John Blewett. And 11 is Neville Penfold and Paul Randall. We watch to see them break, and you see that somebody has missed the gate completely, but as we watch them go down that back straight, there's problems for Neville Penfold, but he recovers from that. It's Rob Wilson that's done the best though and got into that first corner, as Ivor Matthews goes after him and tries to get through on the inside. Those two together as they come past me for the first time, but it's Rob Wilson that's just got the advantage. Well, it was indeed Gary Jackson that missed the start. You can see him right at the back of the field now. It's Rob Wilson that's got to the front though. It's a good scrap going on for that 3rd place, which Neville Penfold holds at the moment, but as we watch to the front, it's Rob Wilson under pressure from Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones. As Rob Wilson goes wide once again, he's trying to keep the power on. Ivor Matthews looking for that inside line. Problems for Ivor Matthews. It looked to me like a back wheel puncher as he went into that bend. It was all over the place, and he pulls out on that thin bend. It means that Rob Wilson and Vince Jones have been given a clear run as they go round that soft bend. they've got Neville Penfold and Paul Randall closing on them in second, but they really have got quite a gap now between first and second. As Mick Cave and Mick Stace move up into third, Alan and John Blewett desperately trying to keep out Jerry Jackson and Kevin Williams. It really hasn't been a good day for Alan and John Blewett. And as you look to the far side, you can see that Ira Matthews is looking perhaps to get a finishing place by following the rest of the field round. As we see the checkered flag go for the first of the sidecar finals, it was a consolation final, but it's a win for Rob Wilson and Vince Jones. In second place, Neville Penfold and Paul Randall. Third place to Mick Cave and Mick Stace. In second place, outfit number 11, that's Neville Penfold and Paul Randall. In third place, outfit number 15, Mick Cave and Mick Stace, as they indeed come round to receive your congratulations. A thumbs up from both of them as they go past me. And we look to see, in fourth place, number 3, Alan and John Blewett. In fifth place, number 10, is Gary Jackson and Kevin Williams. In sixth place, finishing with a back wheel puncher, number 4, Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones. The winner's time, 1:26.69, 1:26.69, as indeed those outfits make their way back to the pits. Confirmation of that result, it was first number 14, second number 11, third number 15, fourth number 3, fifth number 10, sixth number 4, and the winning time 1:26.69. Let's quickly remind you of a bit of the history of this event. Steve Smith and Keith Wall have won it in 82, 84, 89 and got a third in 1990. The only ones that have equalled that are Steve Jewison, who of course has retired from the sport. He won it in 83, 88 and 91, also had a second in 87.
Jim, if I could just break in, could Brian Griffin meet up with Ian Barclay at the pit caravan, please? Brian Griffin, if you could meet up with Ian Barclay at the pit caravan, please.
Well, let's perhaps look a bit more closely at the history of the event, because last year's winner was Russelling and Paul Urich. Second of them were John Halsey and Tony Miles, and in third place, Alan and John Blewett. In 1991, it was Steve Jewison and Dave Ward. Russelling was second on that occasion. Ivor Matthews was third. If we look back to 1990, it was Alan and John Blewett that won it. Dave Steer and Mick Cave was second. Steve Smith and Keith Wall finishing in third spot. And it's back to 1989 that we see that Steve Smith and Keith Wall last won it. Roger Meester on that occasion was second to them. So, who will be up on the rostrum later on this afternoon? And a quick opportunity for me to remind you that there will be the full presentation at the end of the day to our winning crews and of course the winning solo riders. That race we've got to look forward to after the sidecar final. We've then, as I say, got the presentation. We'll hopefully get a chance to have a word with one or two of our winners. And further on than that, there is the big firework display. And you can see the bonfire has returned again this year. So no bonfire last year, but nice to see that it has returned this year. And obviously you can see in the centre of the circuit, they've been preparing the fireworks all afternoon. Well, that's all to come a little bit later on. There was one comment that was made to me this morning, was that is there any way they can stop Jim getting excited because he starts talking too quickly? And my simple answer to that is, I'm sorry, no way. If I'm getting excited, I'm sorry you have to put up with me talking quickly, because I think we are in for a fantastic sidecar race. The lineup couldn't be better. And I wonder who you might have tipped to take the 1993 Ace of Aces sidecar competition. We're underway with a nice clean start. Steve Smith has made an excellent start. I can see Dave Steer coming through on the inside. Roger Meester has gone after Steve Smith. And that's how they go into that first corner. Steve Smith and Keith Wall leading. Ken Lane has come through very well on the inside. He's got himself in front of Roger Meester as they come down past me. But Steve Smith and Keith Wall have looked on song this afternoon and they've got away from the rest of the field. They really are going to take some catching. There's a ding-dong battle going on for second place between Roger Meester and Ken Lane. They've been together in battles many, many times before, and indeed you can see Roger trying to shut all the doors if possible to stop Ken coming through. A good ride this from Dave Steer. He's fighting his way through as well. Last year's winner, Russelling, is out of it at the moment, back in fourth place, or fifth place I should say. But really, let's not take it away from Steve Smith and Keith Wall. They've rode brilliantly this afternoon. Look at the lead they've got over Roger Meester and Shane Apple. I wonder how many of them would have predicted this at the start of the day. As indeed, I can see that Ken Lane is still working hard for that third place. as we go round that pit bend for the last time. Steve Smith and Keith Ward do not look like being caught, as Roger Measer is desperately trying to close the gap. I think it is going to be Dave Steer and passenger Andy Orchard have got the biggest fight on as they go into that last bend. Fireworks go off, and I wasn't expecting that. A win for Steve Smith and Keith Ward. Roger Measer gets second place. Well, a brilliant ride from Dave Steer to come through from the qualifiers yesterday and finish in third spot, so we get a chance to find out how bad that injury was to Andy Orchard. But our congratulations, and as they come round, don't be shy, show your excitement, show your appreciation to a very valid victor, unbeaten all day long. That's the way to win an event like this. A British command on the event in the early races, and what a brilliant final they have ridden. They've made it from the gate. No way was Roger Measer or Ken Lane going to catch them. They've made this final theirs, and they get once again the name of Steve Smith back on the Ace of Aces title.
Well, what a well-deserving victory. Some drivers go on and get better and better, and it was Steve Smith's day, and Keith Wall in the chair.
Well, I'm pleased to see that all the outfits are indeed coming round to allow you to show your congratulations to them. I've got to say that looks a very disappointed Ken Lane, and Russelling and Paul Urich, I'm sure, are equally as disappointed. They all wanted to win this one, and I think that all of them... Well, will he be back next year? We certainly hope he will be, and proof that he has lost even a little bit more hair there. Roger Measer goes round. Let's give you the official result of race 31. It was the 1993 Ace of Aces Sidecar final, sponsored by Exchange and Mart, and this year's winners are outfit number 12, Steve Smith and Keith Wall. Their winning time, 1:25.58. In second place, and it's always very creditable to get into second and third place, in second this year was Roger Measer and Shane Lapham, so once again they're in the record books as being second. In third, this year, a brilliant ride from Dave Steer and Andy Orchard. Lots of talk this year about them giving up. I'm pleased to see they've gone out and finished the season with a performance like that. Number 18, Dave Steer and Andy Orchard in third. In fourth place, outfit number 7, Ken Lane and Mark Edwards. I know he'll be disappointed that he won't be up on that 1, 2 or 3, but he finishes in fourth place. That's number 7, Ken Lane and Mark Edwards. In fifth place, number 1, Russelling and Paul Urich. And sixth place, outfit number 2, John Halsey and Tony Miles. So that's the official result of the 1993 Ace of Aces Sidecar final. Well, thanks Tony, because obviously we're moving over now to do the presentations of the Ace of Aces competitions. And I think first of all I've got to pay tribute to all the competitors this afternoon. I think you'll agree with me, we've seen some fantastic racing. We know what to expect with the Ace of Aces, but when it all comes through it's absolutely brilliant. We've got 3 very worthy winners coming up here. I include all 3 of them, first, second or third. We start as always in reverse order with all the best competitions, they do it this way. We start of course with, in third place in the sidecar competition for 1993, it was Dave Steer and Andy Orchard. Well indeed, thank you for showing your applause. And Andy being helped up the steps there as well. Well, there was an interesting little comment there from Andy. He just said to me it was his age. But how can he talk about age when the people that beat him have come... Somebody actually came up to me a moment ago and said, do you realise the people that won in this competition, first and second, racing against each other, some of the crowd have been watching these guys race for over 20 years. They still proved this afternoon that they're top of the sport, finishing second place. It was, of course, Roger Measer and Shane Lapham. Roger also proving that he's still fit. Indeed, show you congratulations as they come up here and join us. They take up their position in second spot. It means, of course, that we do just have one more position to fill. the one that everybody wants to get to. It's that number one right up on top. And this year, I think you'll agree with me, they won it in fantastic form. They were unbeaten all day long. Their heats, they looked absolutely brilliant. A lot of people were tipping them for the final. I couldn't make up my mind whether they were going to do it or not. But in the end, they showed us right from the start, all the way to the finishing line. The winners of the 1993 Ace of Aces title is, of course, Steve Smith and Keith Wall. I've never known Keith Wall to use this many words. And most of those comments I would like to have passed on to you, but I really don't think I'll be able to. While the last of the pictures are being taken, I'm going to quickly move up onto third spot here because I want to try and get a few words with some of these people. This is where Dave goes very, very shy on me. I want to have a few words with him, but first of all, I'm going to have a word with Andy because you were limping quite badly when you come up here. How bad was it?
Not very bad now. It's all right now.
Very, very pleased with his performance.
Yeah, sure.
And Dave, I've got to ask you, well, it was hard work yesterday. You've done a lot more work than most of these guys, but did you think it was going to be third place for you?
No, I didn't. Not the way we was going yesterday, but today we was going a lot better.
Well, I would agree with that. You did go a lot better. Was there any work done overnight?
Quite a bit of work. Quite late last night.
Well, obviously all proved to be worth it. I'm going to move quickly along.
Just got to say thank you very much for our fitter today, which is Ian, who was my passenger, as you know. Thank you, Ian.
Well, indeed, he was your passenger, and every crew I know makes a tribute to all their pit crews. I'll dart past these two. I'll be back to you in a minute. And I've got to have a quick word with this man because there was a nice comment that one of the crowd mentioned to me that you two have been fighting each other for over 20 years now. Had you realised it had been that long?
After the end of that race, yes, it felt as though it had been that long. But Steve was going superb today. If you saw him in practice, you probably wouldn't have thought that he was going to do very much because the bike was popping and banging. But after the first heat, I think we all knew that he was going to probably be there at the end.
Well, that's an interesting way of looking at things, Roger. We expect most riders to keep a little bit in reserve. We were wondering whether you were doing that today. Where do you think you were losing that bit of power?
With a multi, it's very difficult with a speedway tyre to get it off the start, and I think I was probably trying too hard, and in that time, Steve was disappearing.
Well, wonderful things as always. I get the right comments from you, Roger. Congratulations on second place. I'm sorry to say that I think that's second, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but we'll be around next year, perhaps.
Well, that's the one little bit of good news I wanted to get. And of course, Shane, you must be pleased with the result, and I'm pleased to hear him say you'll be around next year.
Yeah, very pleased. Yeah, we'll be here next year.
As confident as ever, Shane. Did you think that he might have had a chance of winning it when he lined up for that final?
I was hoping, but we just never had no answer.
Well, that's a nice way to lead into Steve and Keith, who are both up here. Shane reckons they had no answer to you. Keith, I'm going to dive on you first so you don't get time to get worried, because you haven't ridden too much this season, have you? But did you feel that he had it in him to be able to do it today?
I was wound up today. I don't normally get wound up. I just like have a sleep in the back of the van. But today I was a bit apprehensive. I just wanted a good meeting. It all started good and it finished even better. And it wasn't bad when you consider those guns aren't competitive anymore, is it?
Well, I don't think anybody can say they're not competitive anymore, because Steve, I don't think anybody really could even guess that they're not competitive. You've shown us that the V-twin was in good form this afternoon. Any special bits of work you did before this meeting?
Not really. I mean, we're absolutely delighted, of course, at winning it. We're absolutely delighted to have beaten Roger and everybody else today. I mean, they've all been going extremely well. Roger has been going brilliant all year, and I was really hopeful that we could beat everybody today. The motor was superb. We'd set the bike up sufficiently good enough to do the job, and I'd just like to say a thank you to some of my sponsors who have helped me through this trying year. We've had an extremely difficult year. We've had 2 blow-ups, and I've got to thank Don Garden, Dave Norrish, John Bevan Transport, Mick Potter, many more, all Feral Ignition, all who I'd like to say thank you for all the support they've given me. I believed in myself, I'm glad they did too.
Steve, as always, you sum it up absolutely brilliantly. I will step away quickly because show your appreciation to all 3 of them. We've got Dave Steer and Andy Orchard in 3rd. We've got Roger Mixer and Shane Lapham in 2nd. But our winners, Steve Smith and Keith Wall.
I don't want to do a Steve Smith and hog the mic, but my girlfriend's out there somewhere. I'm just like to ask her if she'll marry me.
So I'm looking for an answer. Oh, she's over there. Did we get an answer? Who is that legging it up the track there? Well, I don't think I'm going to get any response out of that, Keith. You're going to have to let me know before next weekend.